Let's talk about something that's been happening just under the surface in the world of accounting. There's this quiet crisis where some of the most skilled professionals out there are just stuck in this never ending loop of cleanup. So, today, we're going to talk about the end of that loop and what the new foundation for the entire profession really looks like. Everything really goes back to this. For over 100 years, these three words, precision, judgment, and trust, have been the absolute bedrock of accounting. I mean, those core principles, they haven't changed at all. They're what make the profession so incredibly valuable. Okay, but here's the big paradox, right? If the whole profession is built on this high level judgment and trust, then why are so many of these amazing professionals bogged down in this tedious, repetitive, and honestly super frustrating work of manual cleanup? That's the real problem we're going to dig into. To get to the why, we've got to start by looking at what an accountant's day-to-day reality actually is. And you can pretty much sum it up in just three words: a data crisis. The modern financial world is basically a data deluge. Accountants today are facing this fire hose of information that's not just bigger, it's coming at them faster, and it's way more tangled than it's ever been. And the old systems they're relying on, well, they just weren't built for this. It's like trying to swim in a tsunami. And all these pressures just pile on top of each other. It's not just more transactions, right? It's that they're coming from countless different places. And all of it has to be processed under tighter and tighter deadlines, with this constant weight of greater professional liability hanging over their heads. It's a perfect storm. The result? It's just this demoralizing cycle of pure frustration. Your month-end close becomes a total marathon. The same annoying cleanup work pops up year after year. You've got junior staff stuck fixing the exact same issues, while senior partners are just wading through noise instead of giving the strategic advice they were actually hired to do. But here's the thing, this cycle of frustration, it isn't a people problem. Not at all. It's a tool problem. The real root cause is a fundamental failure of infrastructure. And this quote, it just nails it. Accountants aren't failing. Their discipline isn't the problem. It's the very foundation they're working on. The tech, the infrastructure, that's failing them. It was built for a much, much simpler time. And look, it's not like technology hasn't tried to solve this. For years, we've all heard the promises of automation, right? These super sophisticated rules engines, AI that can magically categorize everything, seamless data feeds. The promise was always, hey, we'll give you less manual work. But here's exactly why those promises always fell a little short. At the end of the day, it didn't matter what the automation did, the final burden of responsibility to verify every single detail, to correct any errors, and to defend the final numbers, that still landed squarely on the shoulders of the accountant. The actual risk, it was never taken off their plate. So, this is where a completely new approach comes into play. And we're not talking about just another piece of software to add to the tech stack. We're talking about an entirely new operating layer. Okay, so what in the world is an operating layer? Just think of it like a smart supervisory system that sits right on top of the tools you already use. Its only job isn't to replace your ledger or anything. It's just to absorb all that friction, the endless manual checks, the cleanups, that eats up all your time and focus. And its whole approach is just different. It takes in raw financial data, bank statements, transaction logs, you name it, exactly as it is, no formatting needed. Then it processes that data all the time, not just at month end. It uses pattern recognition to understand the data's context without trying to shove it into these rigid preset boxes. So how does it pull this off without just being another black box of automation? Well, the goal here isn't just automation for automation's sake. The goal is to create verifiable confidence. The real magic here is a measurable confidence score. So instead of just spitting out an answer, the system actually tells you how certain it is about that answer. Every single classification, every reconciliation gets a score. And that score sorts all the work into three simple buckets. If the confidence is high, the system goes ahead and prepares the entry for you, ready for a quick review. If it's just moderate, it flags the item and basically says, hey, you should probably take a look at this one. And if confidence is low, it just stops. It escalates the decision and says, you know what? I don't know the answer. A human needs to make this call. What you end up with is this incredibly powerful triage system. The high confidence stuff just needs a final sign-off. The moderate confidence items focus your attention exactly where it's needed most. And the low confidence ones, well, They save your expertise for the really tough problems that need genuine human judgment.
And honestly, this is the most important point of all. The whole system is built on transparency. No more of that black box AI where you have no idea why a decision was made. Nothing is hidden. Nothing is accepted silently. It's designed from the ground up to empower professional judgment, never, ever to bypass it.
So, what does this all add up to? Well, it leads to the end of cleanup as we know it. And the payoff is nothing short of transformative. The shift in your day to day is just profound. Before, you were basically hunting for a needle in a haystack, right? Searching for issues. Now, the system just hands you the needle. You're not searching anymore. You're simply reviewing the handful of items that were already flagged for your attention. Think about it. Before, you were fixing the same classification errors month after month after month. Now, you solve the problem once. The system actually learns your firm's standards from your decisions and then applies that knowledge consistently from that point on, forever. And what about training? This is a huge one. Before, all that institutional knowledge just walked out the door when staff left, and you had to train new people through sheer repetition. Now, you train the system once, and that knowledge is locked in permanently. When you pull it all together, the benefits are huge. All that tedious cleanup work, gone. Operational risk is dramatically reduced, and firms get back their two most valuable resources, time and certainty. It allows them to finally shift from that reactive firefighting mode to proactive strategic oversight. And that really brings us to the final thought. See, this isn't just about making accounting a little bit easier, it's about unlocking its true potential. And it leaves us with a really powerful question to think about. When the brightest minds in finance are finally freed from cleaning up the past, what incredible value can they build for the future?